entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay. Welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections for elevating your business. Welcome to Getting the Edge with Kelly Wilson. And here's your host, Kelly Wilson.
Welcome to Getting the Edge. I'm your host, Kelly Wilson. Thank you so much for being with us today. I know you could be a million other places, so we appreciate you being right here with us. Getting the Edge, now in our 7th year, is an interview-style conversation, 1 hour, informative and inspiring, with highlighting small business owners and community leaders from right here in the Tampa Bay community. I am a firm believer that we can learn so much from each other if given the opportunity. So happy to be here. Getting the Edge is brought to you by Edge Media Hub. You can check out more information about Edge Media on our website at edgemediahub.com. With Edge, it's not only business, it's personal. And through the last decade, it's been a great time. We were just talking about clarity and just longevity and how every day turns into another. Before you know it, 7 years, 10 years later, here you are. So never give up and stay at it. To be a guest, contact info@edgemediahub.com. You can find out all about our Edge community partnerships, premium and platinum. Right now we have 50% off all of our annual partnerships through March 5th. So check it out online and find out all of the benefits included, like being here today. Also contributing writer opportunities for our Edge Business Magazine and our online resource library, which I'm really excited about as well. So first, I'd love to also thank our Getting the Edge sponsors. Thank you so much to our presenting sponsor, Urban E-Recycling. Thank you so much. Check out Urban E-Recycling, no charge, data destruction, and a no-charge pickup. So check them out, and thank you to WeBeam TV. Also to Edge's Platinum Partners, All Trust Insurance, Pilot Bank, USF Muma College of Business, and Visit Tampa Bay. Thanks so much. There's so much great and exciting things going on with Edge. We're so excited as the year continues to almost now, or probably by the time this airs, will be in March. Crazy to think that the first quarter will be coming to an end soon, but we're strategically planned out and excited about the year and looking forward to team members coming back and more stories to share. And we've got a fabulous lineup. We're booked pretty much through the second quarter with fabulous guests. Great opportunities to learn, again, from great leaders in our community. So you do not want to miss an episode. You can check out all of them and stream them right on our website. So again, for more information, check out edgemediahub.com. So, and I have to mention our second annual celebration of women. We have just begun. We've announced the honorees, 10 sensational, just outstanding, trailblazing women are included in this second annual celebration. We are looking for presenting sponsors for that issue, as well as we have ad placement opportunities. So all of that information is available online as well. It is Edge Magazine's most anticipated issue of the year. So definitely get your business included front and center. You know, I am really excited about today's show. Again, it's an opportunity not only for you watching, but for me personally to learn and grow, and that's really what sparked all of this. I talk a lot, but I've learned when to shut up, and I already know what I have to say. So you can learn, and never underestimate who you can learn from, because absolutely everyone. But I've known this guest for quite a few years now. I want to say 6 or 7 probably. We originally met through the Center for Women, which, if you know anything about me, you know that I'm very close, and the Center for Women is a very special place to my heart. But I'd love to introduce Rena Romano. RenaRomano.com.
Yes.
Rena, this is Rena Romano and Associates.
That's
Thank
me.
you. Thank you so much for being here.
It's such an honor to be here. I was excited when you asked.
You and I, we've known one another. Mm-hmm. You are one of those critical kind of people when I look at when Edge came to life, actually, 2013. I think it was 2015 or 12 when I wrote the plan. 2013 we launched, but it was late 13 when I also started working with the center. Mm-hmm. And that's when I met so many amazing women that I didn't know I didn't realize how much that was going to kind of be one of those life-changing times for me. But meeting you and Laura Scott and some Ann Madsen, but so many of the other amazing women. But I remember you being in a lot of those early conversations about Edge that we were sitting around in the New Women's Business Center that I was so proud of. But I remember you even saying you need an acronym.
Yeah.
You were the one that said you need an acronym, and I thought, okay, an acronym.
An acronym for Edge.
Right. Yeah. So I went back and did some thinking, and it took some time, but now every concept or something that I've come up with since the last 7 years, I'm like, I need an acronym.
Right.
That all came from Rena.
Well, it kind of tells your message too.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
and I don't maybe share it as much because I think the acronym and the mission initially is there and prominent initially.
Right.
But as you continue, but that's probably has to do a lot with making, just continuing the culture and building on to the initial culture that you wanted. But
absolutely.
Thank you for that. Thank you for being here, and it's fun to have you in those kind of memories of the early days.
That was the early days. Yeah, me moving here too. So I wanted to get out and meet people.
So you had not been here that long then?
Well, I used to live in Tampa. Then I met my husband, and he lived in Orlando. So I was able to transfer my job to Orlando, and we got married. Then we moved to Fort Myers. And I said, Fort Myers is a great place to live if you're retired. So we got to get back to Tampa, please.
So, okay. So how many years so I'm saying 2013 when we first met. How many years then had you been in Tampa at that time?
Well, I moved to Tampa originally in 1986 and moved to Orlando in, I want to say the end of 96. So 1986 to 96. And then I moved back to Tampa 2013, 2014.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Time, it just goes so fast.
Know.
So, okay, well, let's start from the beginning. Where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Kansas City. I'm a Midwest girl. So,
Kansas City. So
yep.
I don't know if I know anyone from Kansas City.
You do now.
So what was it like growing up in Kansas City?
Well, the Midwest people, I mean, they're lovely. They're just, I loved growing up in the Midwest, Everybody thinks Kansas City, it's a cow town or whatever. No, it's a marvelous city with lots of culture. But I came to Florida for a vacation with a girlfriend. We were sharing an apartment together in Kansas City. We both had just broken up with boyfriends, and we came to Florida on vacation.
See, how old were you then?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to be giving my age, huh?
Well, no.
No, it's okay.
In my mind, I'm always putting stories together and timelines.
I moved in 1985. I was 29 years old.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and I am turning 65 years young
my goodness.
this March.
Is that right?
Yeah. So I don't mind sharing my age because I'm like wine. The older we get.
I would have to agree with you. I would have never thought that you were 65. Oh my goodness.
Moisturizer.
Well, in fact, we before the show started, obviously, I think we talk about the pandemic and things going on. But you mentioned the vaccine, and I'm thinking, yeah, I would love it too. But our time is not for a while.
Right.
But you are close to.
I am
getting
close.
It.
So yeah, my husband's already 65. So hopefully he's on the list. We'll see.
You have. Wow.
Thank you.
You make.
Hey, have fun.
Yeah. That's
age is an
inspiring.
attitude.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that's exciting. So, okay, so going back, you moved here.
I moved from Kansas City to Daytona in 1986.
Okay.
And then I stayed there for a year, and we moved to Tampa. And my girlfriend, she found and married a man here from Tampa, and they ended up moving back to Kansas City. And I decided to stay. I love Florida.
So now, you were younger, do you have brothers and sisters? Okay.
Have brothers and sisters, yep.
And now what did you want to do when you were young?
I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I just knew I wanted to have fun. I wanted to enjoy my life. I wanted to be happy. But honestly, I didn't know. And my careers just kind of fell in my lap.
And so what now? And again, Rena has done Rena.
I know that's okay.
Has done a lot of speaking and different things and coaching, and we'll get into a little bit more of that. And you have some great work that you've done recently on positivity. So
right.
I'm looking forward to talking about that.
Good.
But I kind of also wanted to kind of tap into how it started. I think it's interesting that if we allow it, life, as we go through life, different things happen. And I think sometimes even really bad events and things can happen in our life, but often they happen for a reason. And I don't know that it's for a reason, because that's really hard to say too. But a lot of times that trauma can then be life changing for you. And it's unfortunate, I think, that a lot of times to really become the beings we're supposed to be, it almost takes that trauma, if we allow it to kind of almost shock us and move us and awaken us, to ultimately what it's like. You use the pain to fuel you to being even stronger, but it's obviously, transitioning your thoughts from being a victim, to a more of a victor. But so, okay, but let's ask, before we tell the story a little bit, which I'm looking forward to talking about, but what business were you in before? Was it like marketing, advertising, or like what? Because I kind of almost see you in that realm of.
Exactly. Well, I was in sales, in construction sales. Before I moved back to Tampa, I was in construction sales, and I sold water and sewer products. I sold geotextile products. It was a very male-dominated arena, but I traveled the state of Florida selling the products that I did, and I had so much fun working with contractors, and I did estimates, and I put on my boots and my hard hat. I'd get out there in the trenches and put the product in, help install it, just to learn about the product.
Well, it sounds like it could have been more of a male-dominated.
It was very
arena,
much,
so to speak. So, what was that experience like? Kind of being.
Well, it was kind of
minority
fun.
Of females.
It was, definitely. I was a minority. There was just less than a handful of females in the field at the time. I'm going back 25, 30 years. Yeah. And, but it was fun to break into that male domination.
Yeah. And kind of go where no man or no woman has gone before. Yeah. and well, I think, anytime you're kind of breaking into something new and being, and paving the way. That
absolutely.
And you probably don't even think or realize that you're doing that at the time.
Yeah, you don't. I was having fun. I am an outgoing person, and I love it, and I love sales and marketing. And I really didn't think of myself as a salesperson per se. I look at sales as being a problem solver. Yeah. So that was really huge for me.
It's interesting, even through my life being in real estate and doing the different sales that I've done, I've never felt like a salesperson.
Right.
Until once, after real estate was having, and I'm still trying to figure out what I might do, if I'm hanging on or what I'm doing, or if I'm gonna let that, inner piece of me take me, which it did, which is why I'm here today. But briefly, I worked with a company in regards to political somewhat, but from a nonpartisan perspective. But anyway, they had a trainer come down and work with me, and from, I don't know, Virginia area maybe.
Right.
But the most almost embarrassing experience almost for me for a week to be with this guy that's trying to train me to sell, and even with people, some of that I knew from the community, it's at that moment I realized that I've never felt like a salesperson until this guy's the salesman. I just, it's interesting, but I don't think I always say we get there when we get there.
Yeah.
I didn't really realize that until.
Well, I enjoyed the sales and the marketing aspect. I enjoyed the problem solving aspect of it, because they would call me, "Hey, Rena, I've got a problem. Can you solve it?" And I had a multitude of products. And I think that's what we do throughout our life. We become problem solvers no matter what position we're in.
Right. And I don't think how much too we use so much of what we learn along the way. It's almost, it's pieces of a puzzle coming together, but again, if we can utilize everything that we've learned along the way and then, apply that to the different phases of our life, which I want to talk about too. But okay, so through this process, let's talk about kind of how you got to kind of on the mission you're on now and what changed your life so much.
Sure.
And you've even been on Oprah to talk about this experience. I'm quite honored we have an Oprah guest with us. So what was that like, meeting Oprah?
My goodness, the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. Absolutely. But I watched Oprah. I mean, she's my hero. We all did.
Right. Yes. I remember at 4:00 afternoons, rushing home before recorders were around to watch the afternoon of Oprah,
Exactly.
As a woman,
talk about an addiction.
Right.
She was an addiction to watch her, but she had the best shows, and she had people come on and share their stories. So, she had people come and just tell their truth. And it was very therapeutic for us at home too. And I told her when I was on stage, your show saved my life. And you saved my life. I got to tell her that in person.
Wow.
But yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So what year what year was that?
That was October of 2009. And I have to tell you, Kelly, I would tell people, I'm going to be on the Oprah Winfrey Show. And they're like, woo, she's, yeah, right, Rena. Okay, sure. I'm like, no, I just know I am going to be on the.
Even prior.
2 years, 2 or 3 years, I just knew I was going to be on the Oprah Winfrey Show. I didn't know how or when. But when she started doing shows of child abuse.
So tell us what happened.
How I got on the show?
Yes,
Yeah.
Like
okay.
What had you experienced in your life that obviously was a very hard you've spent your life working to be able to move past this and be the woman that you are today, and to be, I would assume, centered and just being anytime you're able to handle things that happen, we're able to distance it from who we are as a person. And then you help so many others. And I've seen some of your posts recently too, just those that have reached out to you and thanked you and the messages that you received. So I'll stop talking now.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I knew that I was going to be on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and because she shared her story of child abuse and rape. And I thought, here's this woman, this successful woman, and she's doing what she's doing, and she's overcome things that I went through. I can do it too. And so the more I watched her, and I finally reached out to a crisis center here in Tampa, and it saved my life. Wow. It took years to get here, and I'm not going to lie about that, but I was determined.
So at what age then do you start realizing that you have to work through these feelings, like that this is taking, has a hold on you?
Right. Well, this was in my early 30s, and I was abused as a child starting at the age of 4, and then raped by a colleague when I was in my early 20s. We weren't talking about this stuff back then, not like now with the Me Too movement and everything. And then, so a lot more people are now talking about it. But watching Oprah, I knew that I had to get help. So I reached out for help because I didn't want to live the life I was living anymore in shame and pain.
Well, and I can imagine, first of all, you have to love yourself to be able to truly love other people. But even letting anyone close to you, our normal stuff we go through as kids can traumatize us as far as future relationships. So I can only imagine, what that must do. And I don't think, obviously that is something extreme that we can experience, but I don't think we realize, how much things do affect us.
And they do. Trauma affects the brain, and the brain, controls the whole body. It does.
And it's down to the energy. Down to the, everything. As I talk often about myself, discovery the last decade, and it's a lot of that and dealing. I don't think we realize how much we don't.
And they're doing more studies on that now. But being on Oprah, and I like I said, I didn't know how or when I was going to be, but she started doing more shows of child abuse. And then she started asking people to send their stories in. And so I wrote in and shared my story of child abuse and incest and rape as an adult. And after a couple of weeks, I heard from Harpo Studios, and they said, this is the date that we're going to air the show. And I said, well, I'm going to be on a ship with my family during that week. And they're like, well, can you cancel it? I said, no, this is my in-laws' wedding anniversary. The whole family's going. I can't cancel for Oprah, but they're like, okay, so send us your itinerary. So I sent the itinerary. We went from Boston up to Canada, and we got on the ship on a Saturday. Sunday, I received the email. We want you on the show. We're going to have a ticket for you in Canada on Tuesday. So I had to literally jump ship.
Oh, my goodness.
They flew me to Chicago. My husband stayed on the ship with his family because it was their wedding anniversary.
Yeah, I'm going to go talk to Oprah. I'll be back.
I'll be back. Yeah, right.
Oprah sent me
Oprah's calling.
Ticket. Right.
I got to go. Oprah's calling. But since my husband stayed, they flew my sister up from Kansas City to Chicago
wow.
to be with me. So anyway, being on stage, I was the first guest on stage in the first 30 minutes, and I shared my story of child sexual abuse, incest, and I said, your show saved my life. It was because of you I called for help.
I mean, and starting at age 4, like
Yes.
that's, you know.
Yep. It's tough, and it's going on more and more. And that's why what I'm doing now, Kelly, is to show people the endless positive possibilities of life after trauma, because there is.
And again, it can be very powerful
Yeah.
for us if we tap into that energy and I hope that a lot of what we do and even more to come through the years will help cushion people from certain blows that we face in life and more from an entrepreneurial just being dedicated to dream type thing, but nonetheless, I mean, we all have a story and what molds us to becoming
exactly. And our stories, one thing that I did, I knew I was going to give a TEDx talk too, and I did in 2017, and it's called Healing from Sexual Abuse Can Start with One Word. And I don't tell people what the word is. You have to go.
They're going to ask.
Yeah,
right?
they're going to ask. So go to YouTube and punch in Rena Romano.
Question.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
Yeah, Rena Romano and TEDx, and watch it and give me a thumbs up. But my TEDx is reaching survivors from all over the world. I've heard from people from Australia, India, Europe, Japan, thanking me for my story. I even got a thank you from one of the gymnasts of the Larry Nassar scandal.
Oh my goodness.
She sent me an email and said, thank you so much for your TEDx talk. And I hear from survivors all over, and many of them say, I've started counseling after watching your talk. So we don't know the impact that we're going to have when we're living in our purpose and we're living in our truth.
And I think, often I would think a lot of people don't, realize that they're in the dark, or they think they've dealt with certain things.
Right.
But and they really haven't.
Right.
And everybody deals with things and overcomes in different ways.
Yep.
But really, until you make that decision, and maybe it's a video or a TED Talk,
or a TED Talk, or going on an Oprah.
Right.
You don't have to.
That triggers.
Right.
That awakening.
Yeah.
And being tired of.
I grew tired of being ashamed of a crime I did not commit. Mm-hmm. And that's when my life changed. I saw Brene Brown with Oprah. Oprah was interviewing her, and Brene Brown said, shame is lethal. Shame is deadly. And that's when I jumped up off the couch, and I'm like, I am sick and tired of being ashamed of a crime I didn't commit. And my whole perspective changed about my life. And I'm like, I have something to do. I'm on a mission. I started Toastmasters to learn how to do public speaking, and here I am.
And it is amazing that we have those triggers. And that's a lot of times what I try to focus on the shows and through our articles, and because those triggers are those identifying factors and that led you down your path of truth. Yeah. And I like that. In fact, I'll probably start using that. I mean, because I always say, with a lot of the different things that we're doing, we want to help push you down the path that you were intended to be on. But it's the same as.
And people feel that in their heart. I mean, you may be working at a bank, but you feel something deep down in your soul and your heart that you want something to do. That doesn't mean you have to quit your bank job, your day job. But you can get involved with whatever your passion is.
Absolutely. And that is one of the things that we're looking forward to helping to nurture, because I feel, and because I know what happened with me, I feel like society and family and those around us, and sometimes almost the closest people to us can suppress us and often deter us from really pursuing those truths. And that could be for any kind of reasons. And I always think that hopefully those motives are they mean well, but
they mean well, but they're trying to protect us too.
Exactly, and that's what I mean by, because I've discovered that through my life. But nonetheless, those thoughts are there for a reason. As as the person at the bank is sitting there thinking,
Right.
I have all these ideas, I have all these things to do, or some that don't know yet, but others that do. But
Right.
that burning is inside for a reason.
It is.
And so often we suppress it,
And we suppress it. And I want to tell folks too, if someone's not supporting your dream, they're not your dream people.
Right.
They're not for you. If we do have loved ones that are fearful for, doing something extraordinary, doing something different. I always told my mother I was going to write a book about my experience, His Puppet No More. She was afraid for me to tell my story because it meant I would have to tell hers. But I did it. And if we don't have the right people in our corner pushing us towards our dream, we need to find new people.
Yeah. And we all need a cheerleader.
Yeah.
But I don't think we realize, I probably went to the extreme as I decided to kind of take this self-discovery journey 10 years ago as the real estate market was crashing. And I was really kind of left with a decision of you stay with where you are and continue, or you just, you really throw the dice and just let it surrender and just go with your heart. And that is not a path that anybody that really, it's hard that those that love you want to see you go down because they feel you're blinded by going down a path that they don't necessarily agree with. But
it's not their path, so it makes them even more uncomfortable.
Right. Well, and they can't see your vision.
Right.
They can't feel it. They can't. They may not be able to relate at all.
Right.
And that's why I always say, limit who you share, anything with. I
Right.
mean, that's really because you may not get the responses back that you want. But,
Right.
but
And there's going to be those people that are going to suppress your dream. Don't allow it. Someone out there right now is waiting for you to make your dream come true, so that you can make a difference in their life.
Yeah. I don't think we realize how much we impact each other. And we talk about that all the time.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
And even with me saying earlier, by you sitting in that room with me all these years ago and how that mattered to me and made an impact. And
I'm glad.
Something you didn't even know that you were a piece of.
I'm glad it did, though. I mean, look, we've kind of come full circle here because I'm on my new purpose here, too. So.
And, that's one of the other things I think are so interesting is, I also just wanted to chime back in on that is eliminating negativity and just putting the toxic people out of our lives and really you have to commit to the truth and living your truth. And in order to do that, sometimes you have to make very painful decisions of who you need to let go and leave behind. Not everybody's meant to go forward with you.
That is true.
So something to
that
think
is
about.
true.
Yeah. So.
But here's one thing too. I'm doing an online course for survivors. And last year I trademarked the word Sir Thriver because survivor just didn't sit well with me and thriver didn't sit well with me.
I like that.
I trademarked the word Sir Thriver because I'm not ashamed of my past. Now I tell survivors, if you want to call yourself a survivor, a thriver, or Sir Thriver, that's entirely up to you. That's your choice. Yeah. But it's all about boundaries too. The course that I'm doing, it's called Sir Thriving After Sexual Abuse. So, and it shows people how to set those boundaries. And I tell survivors, Sir Thrivers, you don't have to go on Oprah or you don't have to write a book unless you want to.
Right.
But you do need to get help.
And acknowledge. That
Acknowledge.
I think, and just acknowledge that you cannot have a healthy relationship and really you can't live that truth, and really have the love and just everything that you truly deserve in your life.
Right. And our truth, our stories are an essential part of who we are now. And we have to be okay with that. And when I tell people I'm grateful for everything that I've gone through, they're like, are you nuts?
Right.
You were being abused at 4 and then raped for so many years. And I can't change it.
Right.
What am I going to do with it?
Once, you almost embrace, you almost learn to appreciate the obstacles, however so hard. Because on the other side of each of those that we go through is growth and a little bit more wisdom. Although the more we learn, and I think the wiser we somewhat become, the more we realize we don't know.
Well, I just interviewed a Sir Thriver. Her name is Whitley Rogers, and she was on my podcast, Sir Thriver Unleashed. And she said, you like that? Sir Thriver Unleashed.
I love it.
It's Sir Thriving After Sexual Abuse. But Whitley said, grow through what you go through. And I thought that was so profound. A young lady in her late 20s, I think, and she's been through so much too, but her motto is grow through what you go through. And I love that.
Let's say that again. No, it's true.
It is.
Grow through what
you go through.
Yeah.
Whitley Rogers is her name. That's her
Whitley
motto.
Rogers.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, Whitley.
Yeah.
That is good. Wow. And now using that, so how long do you think it came or took for you to really kind of own that you needed help within, to really kind of be at the point where you were good?
Well, honestly, I didn't really know that I needed help. My life was dysfunctional, out of control. I was self-sabotaging and doing so many destructive things. And it was watching Oprah and those shows and finding out more how rape and sexual abuse can affect a person and what it does. And I liked what she did a 60-minute interview last year, I think. And they're starting to ask people now, instead of what's wrong with you, what happened to you? Because we see so many people on a destructive path, and they're doing it for a reason.
What is so great about that is that it's becoming okay to talk about things that happen to our lives, and even from a CEO or leadership perspective, it's becoming okay to be vulnerable and to kind of share our truths of who we are in order to inspire and lead those around us. So it's wonderful that, and it's the Me Too movement has opened up and shined the light on a lot of, we all as women, I would assume, we grow up and go through life and deal with sexual harassment all the time, but we don't.
And it's still going on.
Yeah, but it's something that as a woman, you just learn to deal with, and you just deal with it. But it's
that used to be the case.
Right.
We're learning how to take back our power now.
Thankfully, I'm not in situations anymore where I'm in environments where anything like that would happen.
Right.
But earlier days, I
was sexually harassed. I was raped by a colleague from my work in my early 20s. He broke into my home in the middle of the night, and the next day I couldn't go. I had to go to work because I was paying my own bills. And I couldn't tell my boss what his employee did to me because my boss was sexually harassing me.
Right.
And a girlfriend had been raped months before that, and she went to the police, and they did the victim blaming. They don't do that as much anymore these days, thank goodness.
Probably depends where you are.
Right,
exactly,
right. So I knew I couldn't go to the police, but I found a new job right away. But so I'm speaking out. And I am an advocate and a thriver. And by doing so, I'm paying it forward to make a difference. I'm legislating at Tallahassee for victims' rights and rape kits, what we're doing now.
Well, and, don't let what you go through kind of win, in a sense. Use that and make it have been for something. Make something good out of it. And a lot of times, if you can, when you would go through things and overcome or succeed at something that someone maybe says that they thought otherwise, or that you could not. Those that you inspire or can, it could be part of your purpose. And,
absolutely.
And that, I think, I feel blessed to feel very confident knowing what my purpose is, but it takes time to get there. But I think if people would, really zone in on those inner feelings or these things that happen to us, that could be guiders.
Well, and something I want to say about purpose, not everybody's purpose is some big grandiose thing, because not everybody can be an Oprah.
Right.
Or a Kelly or a Rena, right?
Right.
So your purpose to me is to live your best version possible of yourself, and being a good mother, being a good employee, a good boss, a good leader in the community. Your purpose can encompass so many different things. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and being the best you in every situation that you encounter.
Yeah.
And trying to be better, I guess, every day than we were yesterday, and just trying to learn and grow from all the experiences that we have.
Yep.
One of the things I think women, especially women, we're really good at, and I do not think that we often realize how much we do that, is self-sabotage. And you almost have to step back out of your body in some sense and looking in before you realize what you're doing. A lot of the times you don't even realize it's you.
Right.
But you hear often, get out of your own way. I think it's so true.
It's very true.
We do not realize whether it's relationships, whether it's, business opportunities.
When I was in construction sales and I was offered the sales manager's position, and it was before I asked for help. I didn't feel good enough to be the sales manager. I didn't feel good enough to even be offered that job.
Yeah.
It really, but after I got help, now I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a public speaker,
Right.
doing all kinds of things.
But and it empowers you and
Yeah.
allows you to go. But you listed you were self-sabotaging as well. Like what are some of the different ways?
Oh,
that you
so many things: drugs, alcohol, staying out late, too many men, not feeling good enough to be. Even when I met my husband, we've been married 23 years now. I didn't think, thank you. I didn't think I was good enough for him because he's one of the good guys. So self-sabotage, I'm working on my programs for Thriving After Sexual Abuse, and now I'm working on the stage. It's setting boundaries. It's called Trauma to Trust, and it involves boundaries. And one of those boundaries is in talking about self-sabotage. And one thing that we do is something I did last year. I didn't want the responsibility of developing this program and have the responsibility to other survivors. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's a form of self-sabotage.
Right.
Because this is your dream, Rena. So saying that you don't want the responsibility, that's just another form of self-sabotage.
Right.
Make sense?
Right. Oh, absolutely. And it's living up to your truth. And
Yep.
like I always say too, everything that's truly, what we desire and what is on the other side of fear. I mean, and it's really, it is scary putting yourself out there and trying to speak or tell your story.
Yeah.
But then also, have people criticize the way that you try to. Everybody has.
And I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I am to that point. I don't care what anybody says. Thank goodness. And wisdom comes with age.
Yeah.
I wish it had come earlier because I don't care.
Sometimes being that, at least in the early days, I think that naiveness is our
it's sort
our,
of a
lifesaver.
a protector.
Yeah, because we don't know any different. And
Right.
you're just filled with, and being naive. And it's a good thing because that gives us that childlike, dream sense that we
Yep.
can achieve it, even though others around us may be saying it. And then if you stay course long enough,
Right.
you'll get to the point where you have
Well,
more clarity.
I have a saying. It says, fear will challenge you, but regret will haunt you.
Isn't that the truth?
And I don't want any regrets.
I think that's been one of my mottos with life is I think we can look at others in our life, those that are older than us, that, family members, and maybe, decisions that they've made and, we're able to realize that's not what we want for our lives. But I do not want to be at the end of the day and wish. I want to know that I took advantage of every single day. And
Have to. Yeah. And if you're afraid to do it, find a mentor, find somebody to help you. Get involved with those associations or clubs. I mean, I wanted to be a public speaker, so I joined Toastmasters.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Okay, let's talk about that. But let me go back before I kind
Sure.
of forget is to, I think one of the main pieces, okay, we're going to, remember, I want to talk about that.
Okay.
One of the main pieces is forgiveness. And I
Yes.
think part of our, that transformational, where we finally get and bloom out of our cocoons,
Right.
is once we really forgive not just other people, but ourselves for choices that we think we made that were wrong, or for things that we think we should have done. Or we all have, again, I try to live my life without regret, but we're human. I mean,
Yeah,
of
we're
course
human.
there's things that I look back on, but I went through a lot. It's kind of an open story with a lot that I talk about is some issues with my mom and some of the things, but I really had to, my mom passed years ago, but anyway, we all have a story
Right.
and things we deal with, but I had to forgive myself for feeling guilty But really, that was holding me back, and I had no
it does
idea
hold you
how
back.
much. Right. Oh, there was so much.
Forgiveness does. I was never going to forgive my perpetrators. The first person I did forgive was myself. And one thing that I know that we're human. We're all going to make bad choices, but bad choices doesn't make us bad people. And I think that's so.
Oh, it is.
It's okay. It makes us human.
Well, and I'm very spiritual. I'm not completely religious, but it is about, only God can judge us. And but we are so hard on ourselves a lot of the times. But I hold on to a lot, but it is,
we all do.
It is the most freeing thing, I think, when we finally get to the point where we forgive ourselves for whatever decisions we think we didn't make that were wrong. You somehow have to put the past behind and just focus forward.
Yep.
And let it go and surrender to your truth. So I love it.
Surrender to your truth. Your truth, it makes up a big part of who you are. And instead of focusing on the crimes that were committed against me, I focus on the courage, strength, and tenacity it took to persevere during and after those traumatic events.
Right.
That's what we need to focus on.
Right. And it's surrendering to the truth of who you are and then who you are yet to become.
Yeah.
And and that is a lot to that.
One thing I say is anger kept me stuck. And a friend that was in group, she said, Rena, it's okay to be angry about what happened to you, but it's not okay to stay stuck there because you have work to do, a life to live. Anger can be a catalyst for change, but it can also be a sabotaging moment too if you stay stuck there.
Oh, and you had a choice at that moment. I mean, you're at a crossroads. You go one way or you go another, like towards the light or towards the dark, right?
I was angry for years, but I got tired of being angry. Yeah. I got tired of being angry and ashamed and unhappy. I wanted to be happy.
Right. But I wonder what statistically the people that don't take that path, and
it's huge. Yeah. It's really huge. But I think that that's changing more by people coming out and sharing their truth. But not everybody has to be public with their truth. Right. Nobody has to be public with their truth. And healing looks different for everybody. So
absolutely.
I say allow yourself some grace and space to grow into the person. Yeah.
Well, Toastmasters. So let's go back to that. I'm doing good today. A lot of times my brain, I have to pause for a minute, but it's we're
all over the place here, aren't we? I love
it.
We need more than an hour.
I know. It's just that it goes so fast. Toastmasters, and I've quite a few people have talked about it on the show. So how was that helpful for you?
Well, when I knew I wanted to become a public speaker, I wanted to share my story. I didn't know what it looked like. And I heard about Toastmaster 20, 30 years ago. So I searched it out again and I went to a club and I started gaining the confidence. It's really a good platform to build your confidence of standing and speaking in front of others.
And there's multiple chapters and
there's multiple chapters and advanced chapters, beginning chapters. And I suggest people to check out 1 or 2 or 3 to find the club that you're comfortable because
the people I would assume in the club are what makes really that great
each atmosphere is different. Yeah.
Right.
So you have to be comfortable. So I tell them go to 1 to 3, check them out, see which one. And now they're doing it virtually, which is fine. When we open back up, we'll be out speaking again. But I found that not only did my love of public speaking grow and I became more confident, but I became a certified public speaking coach. And so now I coach people all over the world.
I think I admire you for that. I've never had like formal training of any kind. That's probably why I asked you about Toastmasters. I think it's a great concept and I would like to do it. Thankfully I just ramble and I love, I love conversations and I love to talk. And really I'm inquisitive and interested and I again want to share it, so it kind of helps with some of that. But yeah, I'm great one-on-one and in a conversation type. But I don't know, getting up and speaking in front of a lot of people.
Well, I can help with that.
Yeah, I don't know. That may be something we have.
Well, there's a formula I have, and I share it with my clients. And once they learn this formula, and I give them the template, they're like, "Wow, that's easier than I thought."
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I've been reading a lot of things, again, part of the self-discovery kind of process, but well, yeah, we may have to talk about that because it is part of kind of, I think, I don't know, part of what I'd like to maybe see myself doing, in 10 years or so from now, maybe, but at the same time, I'm all about overcoming comfort,
Right.
what you're uncomfortable with, but I don't know. So that's still
But
something.
why not start now? You can talk about the edge. The Rotaries, the local associations are always looking for speakers. And the problem is people have so much they want to talk about, and the audience doesn't want to hear everything we have to say.
Right.
So I show you how to focus in and zone in to that one message and how to structure it.
Yeah.
Because I had the same problem. There's so many things I want to share, blah, 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 blah. But we only have so much time.
Right. And it really creating a message that you can effectively, really put out and for it to be valuable, obviously, to those listening. But and I'm all over the place too. So it is more difficult than to zone in. But something definitely, I'm great in small groups and I love more intimate settings. But speaking, sitting, and just, and I've done it because I've had to, but I don't want to be there.
Well, a lot of people say that. I mean, public speaking, people are more afraid of that than dying, I think. So,
there probably is.
I don't want to drop dead yet, so I'll go speak.
That's so funny. I think, right? Because it leads us to like heart attacks on stage or something. It's interesting too. And before you know it, we'll be out of time. But I think that so often in our lives, it's not. When my daughter, she's 20 now, and we talk a lot about, just her future. And as she's trying to plan, and at 20, it's just like, your life is so big, and there's how do you know? And it's, I think sometimes we focus on maybe our careers or where we're going, but we really don't think of life at a young age, or many even as they get older, that it can be multiple chapters for us.
Oh, I've had so many careers. Right. Come on.
And I don't know about anybody else, because again, we only know how we think until we sit down and have conversations like this. But growing up, I was kind of, you look at obviously those that are around you, because those are the examples you get. So your family and parents, but mom had a job, she raised kids, she fought with her husband, they get divorced, but it's never, at least for me, I did not have the visions of, these multiple careers and these, powerful women or even men, so to speak, that would give me. So I don't think we look at the potential.
We kind of follow in their path. And my mother was a bookkeeper, so I started taking bookkeeping classes. I was bored to tears. I mean, I can't even balance a checkbook. When we were doing checkbooks, I couldn't even balance my checkbook. So I knew that accounting, bookkeeping wasn't for me. But being out, people saw my personality and said, "You'd be great at sales." Yeah. I had no idea what I wanted to be.
Well, they always say you can't teach personable skills.
Right.
The people that are personable, those, you're just naturally great at sales because you enjoy people. So that's a great, trait that, companies look for.
They look for, and they're starting to look at attitude, personality, more so than experience and skill, because they can bring you in and teach you that.
Right.
They can't teach you attitude, really. Right. They can't teach you personality.
Or like ethics in a sense, like if you're, just overall a good person or with good intentions or not. I mean, all of that, that has to be there at the forefront. So we've talked about a lot. What?
Yeah, we're all over. I love it.
Know, well, and there's
squirrel.
Yes, right, right. It's so funny. So what's next?
What's next is, well, with the shutdown and COVID, I found that networking, going out and networking locally, I miss seeing people. I miss hugging and being in those groups. But I'm not missing the hustle for business. So I was doing a podcast 12 to 15 minutes a week of inspiration for survivors. And I just decided that I was going to start interviewing other survivors who are living a happy, healthy, thriving life, so that we could show other survivors what life looks like after trauma. Yeah, right. What life looks like after trauma, because there is a pot of gold out there after the rainbow, and a lot of people just stay stuck, and they don't feel worthy enough, to live a happy life. People have dreams, but they're so afraid of them. And one of the things for survivors is to get help. I say get help, get healed, get happy.
And I just don't think that a lot of people are aware that so much of what holds us back, it's all in our own minds. And really, it's at our own control to fix it. But like with anything that we do in life, whether, it takes practice of getting to the point where you can handle your own thoughts. And, there's that movie, Eat, Pray, Love. That is one of my favorites.
Great book too.
And I think that inspired me as I went on my own self-discovery the last 10 years. I didn't get to go to Thailand and all the cool places that she visited, but I did my own version.
Park.
Right. But you do your own version of it. But in the movie at some point, we called it groceries, I think, in the movie. But one of the characters says to her, you want to control everything in your life, but you can't control your own mind. And, in other words, you're doomed. It doesn't matter how successful you are or what you strive to do. If you cannot control your own internal demons, in a sense, and what goes on in your mind, you'll never truly be happy or successful or live your truth.
And our thoughts become reality.
Oh, yeah.
They really do. And so we can create the reality that we want. We can create the outcomes that we want. We can create the negative or positive in our life. It is a choice. It is a choice. And that's the one thing that every, person on this planet, have is a choice.
Yeah. And I realize it's not that easy. It's not. It's easier said than done.
We get stuck in habits. We get stuck in habits of victimhood. I was stuck for years, but I got tired of it.
Yeah.
So I had to learn ways to fix my brain, help my brain, because I had trauma brain. I still do, and that's okay. I notice it. I deal with it. I accept it.
Acknowledge how you're feeling.
Yeah.
And I think that is a key to overcoming that as well, is identifying what you're feeling and acknowledging.
Yeah.
That, again, we're
say
human.
It's okay.
Right.
And I say that to myself. It's okay, Rena. You're okay. Just take a moment. Stop what you're doing. Breathe.
And give yourself permission. Permission to kind of feel that for a moment. And as long as you get up and then carry on, you're allowed a pause moment in a sense of what I call.
We're human, and some of us have been through a lot, and some of us have been through things we don't even know we went through, and it can affect us in certain ways.
Well, there is no time limits on, and we're all different as well. So you can't expect to have overcome or have figured something out or be totally done with something.
Be gentle with yourself,
right? And give your patience is
self-care is not selfish.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They say that a lot nowadays. Self-care is not selfish, and that's the number one thing that we should be working on. And it's something I still struggle with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
so many of us do. It is.
It's easy to say, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But it's difficult. But I think patience has been one of the really hard. One of the toughest lessons for me to learn is, trying to pinpoint whether it's a business plan or whether it's overcoming some trauma that we've experienced, whether, extreme or lighter. But there is no particular amount of time that then is going to. And I think a lot of times family and people, society put time restraints on things. Oh, you should have been over this by now. Something happened.
Time.
No, we're all different. And again, but I think these are some of the things that in people's own lives, they think are just normal, and that's how it is because that's what they're used to.
Right.
But they don't realize that not necessarily,
everybody needs to take their own time, their own path, their own time to heal. And we should continue to heal and learn and grow. And I call it continuing education. You talked about not having certificates or whatever. I didn't think I was worthy enough to become a public speaker because I didn't have a college degree.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so not true. So I went after a bunch of certificates that I don't even use now.
Mm.
If you have a dream, just go do it.
Yeah. And just take a step.
Yeah.
Each step leads to another, and you just, you never know. And I think Also, surrendering in a sense to any particular desired outcome of something, because a lot of
Yep.
times what we envision isn't always necessarily what something looks like on the other side.
Right.
But I think it's being open to that, and just being open to continuously learning
Yeah.
and surrendering,
Forgiving.
and just continuously being hopeful.
Yeah.
What is the other option? On the other side of hope is what? It's doom.
It's doom. Yeah.
So if you have an
You've got-
alternative and a choice, and yet, right, why not choose to focus on the positive and being happy?
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, it's the law of polarity.
Right.
For every opposite, there's, another reaction to it. So you've got positive, you've got negative.
Right.
So that's what it is, the law of polarity. You have to decide, and it's your
Right.
choice.
And it's a choice.
Yeah.
And I think we just need to help continuously reminding everyone that it's a choice. So finding truth, and what do we say? Go through or grow.
Grow through what
Grow.
you go through. That's by Whitley Rogers, a young
Yeah.
Sir Thriver. And I wanted to tell you about Sir Thriver.
We've got about a minute left.
Because I'm not ashamed of my past, but I am thriving. So I wanted to keep that.
Absolutely. I think I love it, and I love that you kind of trademarked that, and that is brilliant. And I think it shows very just 1-2-wordedly that you can overcome.
Absolutely.
And that, Rena, thank you.
Thank
you
you.
for everything, and just for sharing your story and empowering others, because it really falls in line with everything that we do here, and that I'm all about is helping others live their truth. and
Absolutely.
find it. So
Thanks for having me.
we have your website up, and everybody can check out RenaRomano.com.
Yep.
And for more information. And oh goodness, I know there are many that have experienced trauma in their life. And if you have experienced trauma, or you are now, seek out and get help from others. There is a crisis center. There depending on what your situations are, but don't keep it in. And try to find the right people to learn and grow. And reach out to someone like Rena and TED Talks. I'm sure all that's on the website. So
Yes.
thank you so much for being with us today. I know you could be a million places. We look forward to seeing you next time. Visit edgemediahub.com. And until then, never stop dreaming. We'll see you soon. Thanks.